Welcome to my channel. Here we're going to learn how to use the moon as a natural stabilizing tool in your life and how to use it to create patterns for constant growth and success. Here we go. I'm going to leave this here as a marker so you can skip to the stories and come back just so it doesn't throw off anything or take up too much time. Now, what if I told you that the majority of the things that happen in your life all coincide around a similar time? What if I told you these things could be predictable and that you could take advantage and use this cycle to help build success and bring blessings into your life? This is the moon. So, what is the moon? You know, it's going to be a friend that you're building a relationship with, right? You're going to load this friend with ideas and memories and faith. This friend is going to always be there, consistently be there. Uh, And like I say, it's just a tool. It's going to be a placeholder for your aspirations of growth and success. It's going to be there to help provide balance and mindfulness in your tough moments. And as a reminder that you're connected to all the others on our planet, everyone else can see this. Everyone else is getting impacted by the same thing. We're all here together on this rock, looking at that other rock. Get you in the moment, bring you back down to earth, make you realize where you are on earth and where you are in life. So how does the moon affect earth? There's astrology, there's more scientific lens with the fun facts there. There's lifestyle, people who live and experience the cycle of the moon impacting their life like in a very personal way and what they can tell and what they know. And you have anecdotal experience, stuff that happens to everybody. Everybody has, you know, stories about this or that or the third, and stuff just adds up and it makes you wonder. So here's a just general profile of someone in our society right now. I think this is generally, I guess, just across Earth. I think most economies are kind of going through growing pains and shifting pains, tension, and pressure. So I think, just generally speaking, a lot of people are feeling these kind of pain points, and I think a lot of people are interested in these kind of opportunities. It's going to be, like I said, a generational thing, a societal thing, a cultural thing, as we're all shifting, learning new ways to live, getting rid of the old ways as they break down and are no longer sustainable. And we're building our new path here together. So now getting to it, how do we interact with these periods of time, right? There's never no motion. That's one of the key principles we want to focus on right now, right? Is at worst is slow motion, but it's never no motion, right? And the point of focusing on the moon is to intentionally try to get into the timing of the cycles to give yourself a boost in your own momentum, right? You're already in motion, but you're just trying to like catch a wave, right? There's these natural waves coming in, and you're just trying to, tail along, get a little. I think, yeah, like what in NASCAR and stuff, they had the cars that like drive behind the other cars and stuff because it like knocks some of the wind out of the way and stuff, and they can, get a little less friction and get a little catapult on their journey and stuff. So it's kind of like that, right? You're trying to kind of use the moon as just a anchor of motion, right? And to just help you, like I say, stabilize if you need to, speed up, slow down, turn. It's just a tool to help you gain control of the things that are going on in your life. and your own momentum and your own direction in a kind of systematic way. Now, each full moon enters us. So each full moon, I like to say, raises the energy table of the world, right? I like to say about 4 or 5 days before a full moon and after. Um, there's a just overall heightened energy level, right? And during this time, you'll notice, more of these things firing off, more of these random little quirks and events that we've seen before on some of these other signs, dreams, people coming back into your life, drama, crisis, these kind of things. They're going to happen in this little range of time. Not, only in this range of time, as you can see, but it's just about the overall correlation of these things and just being able to find a place where you for sure can make a move, get an anchor, and try to do something meaningful to help yourself, right? So these types of motion, right? I mean, just try to think like physics real quick. Just try to humor me and, think of some of these things. Like sometimes it's gonna be stuff like a rolling ball, right? You know how a ball goes down the hill. The steeper the hill, the faster it goes. The more flat the surface, then the slower it might go, right? It might need more external energy and external action to keep it going at a certain speed, depending on the angle of the surface, I guess, in this analogy. And so, think of it like that. Sometimes there are gonna be things that kick you off down a steeper part of the hill. Imagine a roller coaster or something like this. Some parts have bigger bumps and some parts have smaller bumps. Some parts just glide kind of on previous momentum, and some parts you have to, fight against gravity and chug, 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 chug to get up to the top. But once you get up there, you're gone. And so these are sometimes some of these events that'll show up. Um, Also, next, now you have the turning ship. So for the turning ship, think about it. You're not gonna immediately turn the ship at a right angle. That's gonna like flip the boat. It's gonna have the water. The water has a certain kind of tension on it, and it's not gonna work out well. Just the physics of that don't work. You're gonna have to guide, it, especially the size of the ship. Obviously, it's like imagine a cruise ship turning at a right angle. It's probably kind of unlikely. So with these turns, you're gonna want to be, intentional and gracious in the turns. You're gonna want to give it space, uh, and guide it, instead of kind of force it, because in this example, it's just not the best thing always. Now, can sometimes a turn be forced and be sharp and abrupt and maybe not even be intentional, intentional or not, yeah, it happens. And it doesn't always crash the boat, depending on the size of the boat. If it's a smaller craft and it's built and trained and been refined for those kind of maneuvers, then that's what it can handle. So you're gonna want to think of your mind, I guess, like a boat in this example. And when the moon is coming into contact with it, it's just like a potential obstacle there. And you're just going to want to, or current maybe, right? And maybe you're going to want to go with a certain current or be going against a certain current. Don't maybe, make it an obstacle as a life or death thing, but it's just guidance to help you maybe gain speed or get where you're going faster in a better way. And you're just going to want to be cognizant of how you interact with the current in these times. And last, you have the one off events. So these are like jumps and falls and things. These are sudden and, potentially unexpected and more likely than not, very sharp adjustments in overall direction. But, these can obviously be very great starter events to get you going in a certain direction, get you momentum when you feel like you're stuck, something to just get you out of that hole and on your way. And so, you know, yeah, sometimes, you're gonna bounce around with these, and sometimes maybe you do feel like you fall and you're paralyzed maybe in the free fall event or something like that. But, like I said, it's never no motion. Sometimes it just feels like very slow motion. And at the end of the day, you're going to hit ground again. You're going to keep moving. And it's all about direction after that. What do you do to maintain or adjust or control the momentum of motion that X event has given you? So just to recap, each month you're going to get a chance, undoubtedly, I can say this for sure, undoubtedly, something will happen every full moon, every month. I don't know what, it might not be what you want to happen and, something that you like or really focused on what you're thinking about at the moment, but undoubtedly for sure. I mean, of course, something happens every day, but specifically, you'll get chances at amazing timelines and directions and new paths in your life, new opportunities and events for advancement every single full moon for sure. And this period isn't just 1 day or 2 days, like you gotta hunker down and whatever happens on those days, it's like the most important stuff in your life. No, it's the period of time, 4 or 5 days before and 4 or 5 days after, it's just the overall period where it's about focus, advancement, being mindful, staying in the moment, and like I say, having control of yourself on this wave of motion and on this wave of life.